Okay, here we go. Okay, today's Gedvach, today's daf is the daf of the Mesis. This is in Devarim, Yud Gimel, Pasuk Zayin. Ki yisischa, if he'll incite you, Ochicha, your brother, Benimecha, the son of your mother, Oibincha, your brother, or your son, Oibitcha, your daughter, Oish Kecha, or your wife. Your friend that's like your soul. Rashi says your father. Baseser, that's a key word, guys. Baseser, clandestinely, lamar. Nelcha, we will go. V'navda Elohim acherim, serve another god. Ashalo yadata, atavasecha. Melohei am ashes from the gods that are hakrov melecha, or rechokim mimecha, or distance from you. They'll say, miksei oretz, akatsei oretz, leisayvelo, don't love him. Leisishmei love, don't listen to him. Leisachas eincha olav, don't have rachmanis on him. Leisachmo, leischas olav. He horror targenu, you'll kill him. Your hand should be against him first. Your hand should be against him first. Right? Yad kol machreina usakalta bavonim v'meis ki bikesh ladichacha me'al Hashem elokecha matzecha me'eretz Yisrael mi'beis avodim v'chol Yisrael yishmu v'yirou v'yasifu lasas kadav hara zeh b'kebecha. So this is the warning against the maces. Fellas, a maces just has to be someone who's told you, suggested to you to do avodah zarah. You don't have to act upon it, nor did he have to act upon it. Even just suggesting it, you see the severity of to go ahead and distance a person from avodah zarah. The masis is going to get the most severe punishment, according to the way we paskin, according to Chachamim, that of skila. So today's daf is the daf of masis. As we're concluding, coming towards the end of Elohein Aniskolim, the Mishnah described, I think, Daf Gimel. These are the ones that watch. These are Elohein Aniskolim. These are the ones who get skila, right? And the list, we're coming towards the end of the list, and Mesis is on the list. Now, Mesis is where you incite an individual or even a few individuals, 2 or 3. A Meidiach is where you do a Rabbin. That's the next Mishnah. When you heard the term Mesis u'Meidiach, Mesis is to incite, Meidiach is to push. Usually, Meidiach is referred to by an Irni Dachas. That's the chilik between the two. Says the Mishnah on Samech Zayin Amid Aleph. Says the Mishnah on Samech Zayin Amid Aleph. Hamesis Zehedyet. Hamesis Zehedyet. The Gemara is going to suggest perhaps not a Navi. Hamesis Esahedyet, or someone who incites a Hedyet. So the Mishnah is describing, guys, this is important for understanding the Gemara, the Mesis relative that as who he is, and the Misas, the one he is going ahead and inciting. So the first lashon is Hamesis Zehedyet, that's the person doing the Mesis himself. Hamesis as a Hedyet, and who's he doing it to? To a Hedyet. Mashma as opposed to a Navi, as we see, or Hedyet as opposed to a Rabbin. Omar, Yesh, the guy says, Yesh yer b'makam ploini. Guess what? There's an avodah zarah in this place. Kach lecheles, this is the way it eats. Kach shoyse, this is the way it drinks. Kach meitiva, it does good to you. Kach maria, it does bad to you. The Paras Chaim suggests the reason it says b'makam ploni is it's a faraway place, because if it's current, you can check it out yourself. So the hasasa has to be, he'll tell you, oh, it's not over here. It's, it's someplace else. It's in the Bronx, maybe, right? It's someplace else that it's going to take place. Kol chayvei mises shevet Torah, ein machminim aleihem. All the chayvei mises in the Torah, ein machminim aleihem. You don't set up the guy. Machminim, guys, is we're going to see is you set up the guy, as we'll see in a second. Chutz mizu, the only time we'll set up a guy in a kind of sting operation is by a masis. For example, Amal Shnayim, Hein Edav, if he says to 2 people, that, there's a Vaidusara in this place, this is the way it eats, this is the way it sleeps, and it drinks, and right, all these things, those 2 people that he says it to can be the Edim, so if a masis, again, speaks to 2 people, and he tells them he gives them his pitch, right? He gives him his pitch. Those 2 people can be aiding to kill him. You don't need Asra. You don't need Asra by a Mesis, right? Again, as we saw, you did not look for the Vetzilas Eida does not apply to a Mesis, Right? The Nachash had Kadmoini, the original Mesis fellas, right? The Nachash had Kadmoini, we didn't go ahead and Hashem didn't give him a chance to answer even. Amal Echad, if he says to one, Hu Oime Yeshli Chaverim, he say, I have Chaverim, Roitzim Bekach, they want to hear you pitch. Im Hoya Orum, if this guy was very, very clever, in other words, the Mesis is clever. He says, if I speak to two people, they could be the Eidim. So therefore, I don't want to do that. So what do we do then to get him? Machminim loy Eidim achuri hageder. We prepare, get Eidim aside on the other side of the fence. For who oimaloi. And now this individual says to the Mesis, let's say to me what you said. How can we possibly leave Hashem? How can we possibly do that? So the person, the Nisas, tells the Mesis, how can we possibly consider doing it? If the Mesis has charata about what he said, or even if he's quiet, great. Then all hands off, everything's fine. The mama, this is good. It's a chiyuv. It's good to go ahead and do this avodah zarah. Those people who are behind the geder, they're going to bring them to bezdin. The cycle say. Again, as we pointed out when we did the pasuk, you don't have to act upon it. All you have to do is suggest it and say it, and therefore you will be guilty as charged. Ha'omer, ever, I will serve. Elech, I will go. Ve'evoid, neilech v'nevad, we will go and we will serve. Ezbach, I will bring a carbon. Elech ve'ezbach, neilech, we will go v'nizbach. Akter, elech v'akter, neilech v'nakter. Anascha, elech anascha. Excuse me. The lashon of the Mishnah. So it says, Elech v'akter, neilech v'nakter, anasech, lashon is anasech, I will lie bait, or Elech v'anasech, I'll go and I'll throw libations. Neilech v'nasech, we will go ishtachave, Elech v'ishtachave, neilech v'nishtachave. All these are lashon zvad of hasasa, of inciting, and in all of these, again, all of these you would be what you would be chayiv skila if you don't change your mind, and to aid you don't need asra, aid can come and get you. Okay, so before we do the Gemara, let's go back to the first line of the Mishnah. And this is, guys, this is the setup for understanding the Gemara. This is the stand of understanding the Gemara. The Mishnah says on Samach Zayin Amid Aleph, the first thing it says, Hamesis is a hedyet. So it's saying the Mesis is a hedyet. And then he gets skila. What happens if he's a Navi? So the Gemara suggests, then he doesn't get skila. And that's the first suggestion. Vamesis es a hedyet. And someone whose mesis an individual gets skila. What happens if he's mesis a rabbin? So the reisha, fellas, the diak is going on the mesis himself, and the diak of the seif is going on the nisas, the one being inside it. Good? And we suggest that our Mishnah is according to Rav Shimon, and then we're gonna go regret. We're gonna reject it. Meaning, here's going to be the diak. Who mesis gets skila? That's a regular Joe. If he's a navi gets chenek. If he's mesis a hedyet, he gets skila. If he's mesis a rabbin, then he gets chenek. That's going to be the diak, and therefore that Mishnah will be Rav Shimon. We're going to reject that, fellas. Ravina is going to answer the seifa, and Rav Papa is going to answer the reisha. And it's still speaking about skila, okay? And it's only not speaking about the Navi, as we're going to see. Says the Gemara, Hamesis hedyet, the opening line of the Mishnah. Hamesis hedyet, a regular mesis, a regular guy. Taima the hedyet. The reason why he gets skila is because he's a hedyet. A Navi, if he was a Navi, bechenek, he would get chenek. That's the inference from the Reisha. Back the Seifa, Hamesis es a hedyet. Now, the mesis he goes ahead and he incites who? An individual. Time of the Yachid. The reason he's getting skila because he's an individual. A rabbim, but if he's inciting a rabbim, Bechenek. So that's a suggestion. Masnisan money. Who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Based upon that inference, it's Reb Shimon. Based upon that inference, the Tana is Reb Shimon. The Tanya Navi Shehediach, a Navi that goes ahead what and is and pushes people to avoid zara. Biskila. That's the Tana Kama. Reb Shimon Oimer Bechenek. So if our inference is chenek, then Reb Shimon fits in the Reisha, not the Hedjit, but the Navi. So that fits, that component. Madiach Erni Dachas, the person who goes ahead and incites an Erni Dachas, Biskila, Reb Shimon Abba Bechenek. So that l'chayr is the Mishnah. So again, going back to the Mishnah, Hames is a Hedjit. If he's a Hedjit, then he gets Skila. If he's a Navi, gets chenek. That's the inference. The Seifa, Vamesis is a Hedjit. Someone who's Mesis a Yochid gets Skila. If he's Mesis a Rabbim, he gets Chenek. If that's what's suggesting, on that suggestion of the inference, the Tana of the Mishnah is Rav Shimon. Now we have a problem. Look at the next Mishnah, fellas. On the same page. Hamadiach, who's the Mediach? Zeh Oimer, Neilach v'navoid avodas kechavim. Says now back in the Gemara. Okay. Ema Seifa, the Seifa, Hamadiach, Zeh Oimer, Neilach v'navoid avodas kechavim. V'amr Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Meidiche Erni Dachas Shanu, right? That's Meidichas Erni Dachas, they're getting skila guys. Now, according to Rav Shimon, you get chenek. Our mission is listing Elohein HaNiskalim. So you're not getting chenek. Because what are you doing over here? You're going ahead and not doing a head yet, you're doing a rabbin, right? The diak was, the inference was, you're getting, if you're doing a rabbin, you get chenek. But our Mishnah says if you do a rabbin, you get skila. Comes out, the way you're learning pshat, the Reisha, the Mishnah we just did is Reb Shimon, based upon that inference, and the Sefer that we didn't do yet, but it's on the page, is what? Is skila. We always want to be consistent in style, right? We want the same Tana. Says the Gemara, Asna Rabbanan, Reisha Reb Shimon, Sefer Rabbanan. So that's a problem. Okay, guys, we're going to answer the problem. You know what we're going to answer? The Reisha is the Rabbanan. The inference of chenek we're going to throw out. The Reisha is the Rabbanan. And with that in mind, we're going to figure it out how now. This is the Rashi learns pshat. Ravina is going to answer the Sefer, the Rabbin part, and Rav Papa is going to answer the Navi part. You know, each one's going to answer the chelik of each one of the inferences. So now, Ravina Amar Kula Rabbanan he. The whole thing is the Rabbanan. For Loizu Avsu Kitani, and we're learning the style, not only this, but even this. So don't make the diak vamesis as a hedyet. There's no diak. Hamesis is a hedyet gets skila, lozu, but afsu, even if he's mesis a rabbin, which is a bigger, right? You also get skila. Lozu, not only this, but even this. That's the vamesis as a hedyet, right? Papa Amar, kikatani mesis a hedyet. It doesn't mean le'inyan what? A minyan a navi. Hamesis a hedyet, meaning this guy's not. What was the diak? He's a hedyet as opposed to what? As opposed to a navi? No, he's a hedyet. We're treating him like garbage. We're going to go ahead and set him up. We're going to treat him like nothing. In other words, don't make the diak. Mesis ze hedyet. He's a hedyet. He's a hedyet. A navi also. It doesn't make a difference who it would be. They'd also get skila. But we're treating him, no matter who he is, like a hedyet. Why? We're setting him up. We don't find this in the Torah, setting a guy up. But this hachmana will set him up. The Tanya. Okay, so let's go back. To initially what we thought. We thought initially it's Reb Shimon, chenek, that led to a kasha, Reisha, Reb Shimon, Sefer Rabbanan. No, it's the Reisha is the Rabbanan also. The two diyukim you made are not correct. There's no diyuk in the Sefer if you maces a rabbin. There's no diyuk in maces a rabbin. It's loisu avsu. Not only a hedyet, and then not only there, but even there you will get skila. Even it doesn't do a rabbin. Okay, in other words, even though they're getting sayif, he's going to get skila. And Rav Papa answers up the Reisha. Your Reisha, you want to make only a hedyet gets skila, but a navi doesn't. No, navi also gets skila. Why does it mean that? Why does it mean that a mace is a hedyet? We're going to treat him like a hedyet by setting him up. And now the Brisa will elaborate upon the setup, guys. The Brisa will elaborate upon the setup. Okay, says the Gemara. The Tanya. This is a brisa. V'shakol chayim misha b'Torah ein machminam aleihem. Chutz mizu, except this one. Ki yotza oisaloi madlikin lo yasener bebeis hapnimi. You light a candle in the front. U'moishivim lo eidim bebeis hachitzon. Put the eidim in the outside room. Kidei shehei royin oisai. They should see him. V'shoimin es koiloi, and hear his voice. Right. For who ain't a royoi son? He doesn't see them. There's ganze Torah guys about here whether by coil, betfias ayin and coil, can you find the guy chayev? Obviously, they have to see him. If he's there in the dark and he's in the light, he can't see them, but they have to see him, right? The Torah is based upon the concept of how is a man mutta be'ishtay b'layla? How is a suma ever mutta be'ishtay? It's because you recognize the voice. So the Chashayla from the Gemara, you see over here that tfias ayin is not enough. You see that tfias ayin and coil is not enough because you had to see him. You had to see them, right? So again, the MS guys, tfias ayin coil is not good. The only time it's good is isser. That's where the Ketzois in pay Aleph. He says it's only good in isser. But ein lechinami dinin nefashos, you have to see him. Grada. That's why over here, grada, you have to go ahead and light the fire in the room. Who I'm a royal son. He tells him exactly what he told him. The Eidim are here outside. You hear this, guys? You set him up, these guys will come and kill him. That's the masis. You don't have to do Avodah Zarah. You don't have to do it. You just suggest it and you're gone. And the Torah goes to big extremes to tell you, no matter who it is, no matter your closest relative, you have to kill them. Your father, you kill your wife. Doesn't make a difference. If they're a masis and you have Eidim, you have to kill them. Now, where's the source for this hachmana, guys? Where's the source for this hachmana, right? Good. We saw earlier, Yad ha'edim yebar rishayna. Who's the first boy? Skila, right? We did Skila together. We throw them off, right? The Eidim, they're the ones who throw them off, and then the other Eidim, they're killing, right? Eidim have to be the guys who get them, good? So, this is Geschmack. The Torah Chaim, guys, this is so Geschmack. Listen, watch this. This is so Geschmack. Where we come up with this hachmana? Where we come up with this idea? Ki yisischa achicha benimecha, oy bincha oy bitcha, oy yeshes chekecha, oy riach asher kanafshecha, baseser. Baseser lemar. Nelcha will go v'navdel him acherim. So meaning, a guy who's a masis, what's he going to do? He's going to come over you privately. Come over you privately, baseser, right? But you need to give him skila. You need Eidim. You need Eidim Stamazai. But you need Eidim to give him the skila. If he's coming over to Beseser, where do you have the Hechatimsa of possibly going ahead and have Eidim Yad Tia Eidim Barishayna? How's it possible? Says the Torah Chaim. That's the source of Achmana. The word Beseser. It's geschmack as anything. That's the source. Beseser. In other words, since the whole thing is Beseser, you have to set him up, or else you won't have Eidim. The so geschmack. Why is this different than any place in the Torah? Because shteit baseisa, that one word, the Torah Chaim extrapolates this whole halacha. It's geschmack as anything. Very, very geschmack. Okay, says the next Mishnah. Amadiach. Again, Mesis and Mediach, guys, this is the way you should, for the rest of your life, know. Mesis is individuals. Mediach is a city. Ir nidachas. Amadiach zeh oimer neilech v'navay avodas kechavim. Zeh oimer, person says, Neilech, we will go. Okay, that's one of the skilla is kishuf. But not someone who is oiches esaynayim. Someone who goes ahead and actually does an action, but not an illusionist. Not an illusionist. We have a kivoyim mishur b'Yeshua. Shnayim loiktim kishuin. There are two people who can gather gourds. Echad like it potter, one could be potter, the echad like it chayev. What's the criteria? Ha'oisa maisa chayev, the one who actually uses kishuf, and the kishuf goes ahead and harvests the gourds, brings them in, and they're really done. Then he's chayev skila. Ha'oiches es ha'inayim, but someone who just it appears as if he did it, an illusionist, then he will be potter. An illusionist would be potter. Now, what's the difference between the Tanakama and Rabbi Akiva? Apparently, they're saying the same thing, right? Einachinami, the Tiferes Yisrael says there is no machlokes. The Tiferes Yisrael says there is no machlokes. However, the Sefer Margolius Hayoim says the following: Vinir, the Tanakama Omar Stam, Ha'oiches Esenayim Potter, Rabbi Akiva Mechalik, the Yesh Trei Gavni Achis Esenayim. There's two types of illusions. Achas Ha'oisa Maisa Kigoin Sheliket Be'emes Kishuin. He does, Taka does it. Rak the Al Yidei Achis Esenayim Mara Sheliket Eisam B'derech Pliya. Ube'emes Liket Kedarkei Chayev. In other words, you can go ahead and do it in a way that is, it seems wondrous. All of a sudden, they'll be coming out of the ground and flying through the air and doing that. So in other words, loy Tanakama, as long as it's an illusion, it doesn't make a difference. Even if it happens, you're not going to be chayev. Loy Rabbi Akiva, only if it's a total illusion. But if it's an illusion as to how it happened, but it really does happen, then what? Then you would be chayev. That's the nafkamina between. Again, says the Margolius Hayoim. I don't see the name of the person he's saying it b'shem. No. So let's say the fellow's like this. Let's say this would be the nafkamina. Let's say all of a sudden you see this, it's the gourds are coming out of the ground. It's a watermelon, it's coming up the ground, and all of a sudden they're floating through the air and they're landing. Like the Tanakama, you'd be pata. Because it's an illusion. Like Rabbi Akiva, if it's an illusion that really happened, you'd be chayiv. They're both moida. If it happens in a normal way, you'll be chayiv. So again, this is a pitch of God. Like Tiferes Yisrael, this takana machlokes. I just wanted to make you aware that there's another opinion of exactly what's going on. There is another opinion.
I believe that this is the source for why present day magic would be mutter if the magician, the performer, lets people know that it's a trick. It's not so pashut that magic is.
I think everyone knows it's a trick, Bisman Hazeh. I think one of the things you're right. It definitely is a shaila. It definitely is a shaila. Guys, here's the inyan of Kishuf. Okay, so the Mishnah says that mechashev does a ma'isa or chezanayim. So here, this is the Sefer HaChinuch in Kishuf, fellas. Okay, the inyan of Kishuf hu lefi daiti. This is what my way of thinking. Hashem Baruch Hu, some b'tchilas habriya, at the beginning of time, he placed in the bria l'chol davar davar midivrei ha'olam teva lifol pu'ulas toiva v'yishara the toivas b'nei adam asher bara. Everything was created for the purpose of good for the man that he created. Everything. V'tziva kol echad lifol pu'ula leminehu, and each one was commanded to do its job according to its gender, its min. K'moshe kasav b'pashas bereshis leminehu ala nivroyim. It says leminehu. All the things that are created should be leminehu. Good. V'gam al kol echad v'echad himshul koyach lemayla. Everything that was created has its corresponding koyach lemayla lehachrichai al maseyu, to go ahead and be in charge of its action. K'moshe omer zechronu levracha. There's not a blade of grass in this world. All the girls are busy with nothing, right? If you take a blade of grass, you kill the malach, right? They're all busy with that. This is the source for that. This is the source of that. That tells it to grow. So therefore, everything in this world has a corresponding thing with Shemayim that's in charge of it. Okay. Aside from the pool that each one does according to its nature, there's another pula when bihis arvam, when you go ahead and mix them together, min mehem and min acher. And that Hashem did not want. Uv'meleches hataruvis yesh bot stodim shlehoirish b'nei adam l'shtamish behem. That person is not able to go ahead and be mishtamesh with this taruvis. In other words, Hashem didn't want it in the world, and you put it together through kishuf or basa b'chalav. You make taruvis. Hashem doesn't want it, and He doesn't want to use it. Ki idea like him. Anything that comes out from that side of them mixed together, ralahem, it's bad for them. And that's why Hashem held it back. In other words, guys, if it has refuah, meaning it has a positive effect, therefore it's not considered darkei moiri. Kloimar, you shouldn't ask me tzad kishuv. Why? Because it has a positive thing. It has a positive. So since through the test you can go ahead and figure out that this thing is good for you, then therefore that shows that gets what? That's not part of the issur of taruvis, of kishuv. The only reason they're rasa is because of the nezek in them. Yesh study hataruvois ve'tachbulois hasurois lasas inyan acher shenesru bavuroi lefi shekoyach oiset haruvis oila kolkach shemevatel mepulasoi lefi shah koyach hamazel hamamun al shtei aminim. You know what? This taruvis can go ahead and be mevatel the two minim that are supposed to be for it. So let's say, I'll give you an example, a very partial example. Milk is good for you, and bus is good for you. They're both good for you. Hashem doesn't want them together. If you put them together, it's not good for you. Now, as a result of milk and meat being together, neither is useful. You can't use either one. You can't eat it. It's asabana, it's asabishla. That's why it's so severe. So sometimes the taruv is something is mevatel the goodness of either one. It stops the malach from doing his job. If you markiv min in einay minoi, it brings about something else. Guys, you have a lion, you put it with a tiger, you get a liger. It's a mother thing. You have a horse and a donkey, you get a mule. Nimsa shebitlu arkava koyach shneim. It's not a tiger, it's not a lion, it's not a donkey, it's not a horse, it's a mule. V'alkein nimnu mehalois al ruchenu af kinase biyadenu dava shemara banu rotzen lahachle dava b'maisa kalish shleimus. V'yevsha shiyalu b'denu mizer remes mishorshe klai zroyim ume behema v'shatnis umem koimim narich b'zen. I'll go ahead and explain this in the future. V'zeu sh'om zechronim levracha, as we're going to see on the right on the Amid Beis. Lama nikra shmam kshafim. Why are they called kshafim? Shemakishim pamal yishal ma'ila. They weaken the family above. They weaken the malachim, right? B'shalmata kloimar shekoichen oil lefisha yosim ikoyach hamamunim aleihem. So the horse loses its power, the donkey loses its power, because this thing that you created is mashal over both. Shemachisim pamal yishal ma'ila b'shalmata. Okay. It says the Pamalia, the Malachim, and not HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Gezerah. Fish Hashem Baruch Hu Gazru, Veroitzim Etchilas Habriya Liyos Hapula Azois Yoitzim Vein Shneim Taruasam. Hashem wants the mule to come out. In other words, but you're not supposed to do it. He wants it. Uboy Teichachas Megula Al Hamamuna Aleihem. Aval Omru Shekoyach Pamalia Mukish. Mikomakim. Umisha kreva sichloi ba'or panai melech v'koichei sechuchoi yala koicha mamuna la yira ma'isa zeh v'achoshav k'moshe mitzin b'gemar mishach neshabesh shamach chachim. Okay, you should stay away from him. Says the Sefer Achinuch that basically kishuf is really all heebie-jeebie stuff. Not only the fact that kishuf can go ahead and work, but it seems to be when the way kishuv does work. Again, we're not speaking about guys. We're not speaking about an illusion. We're speaking about actual kishuv. We're speaking about actually creating things, right? And the site seems to be that everything in this world has its koyach in that world. And when you mix them together in this world, it creates something in the next world that Hashem didn't want to be. And therefore, it overrides that koyach. In other words, a horse and a donkey become a mule. They don't remain a hunky or a dorse, right? You understand it? They don't remain something. A lion and a tiger become a liger. It's a mudna thing. They have this creature, guys. Google it. It's called it's a mudna looking thing. And the amazing thing about it, none of these things can reproduce. Hashem doesn't want them in the world. They can't reproduce. They can't reproduce. A liger is sterile. A mule is sterile because Hashem doesn't want them in the world. But that seems to be the yesod of Kishuv. So I thought I'd give you a little tam of some as I say in Kishuv. You have a little understanding of how it works. Okay.
He doesn't see. He's really addressing Tarov. That's the only type of Kishuv there is. Because the Tarovas you can do without Kishuv.
No, again, there is Taruvos. That's Liminehu. But the way Kishuv works is you're going to take different heebie-jeebie stuff and mix it up, and that's how it comes into being. In other words, it's mutually exclusive. The way things work is when you go ahead and do something in this world by mixing them together, that creates this kishuv. Again, you're not limited to taruvis, but the way kishuv works is al yedei taruvis. The way kishuv works is al yedei taruvis. That's what he's saying. That's the issa. Now, he continues on. I mean, that's I just ran out of space and I didn't have time. So he continues on. Samech Beis, mitzvah Samech Beis. This week's parsha. Chashef alei sechaya. This week's parsha. Chashef alei sechaya. This week's parsha. Okay. Says the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Medichi Nidachas Shanu Kan. Okay, we're going to get to Nidachas later on in the Masechta. Hamachashe Zeh Oisa Maisa. Tan Rabbanan. Mechashefa Echad Ish Vechad Isha. It doesn't Mechashefa, even though it says Mechashefa, it says female. It doesn't limit to female. It's just that them came Matamalei Mechashefa. They should roiv nashim mitzuyas b'chashafim. So it can easily be males also could be involved in this stuff. But again, women love the occult. I can tell you they're busy with this stuff. They hear any of these things. I can tell you, nothing can tell you they love this stuff. They love the mudna changes, anything that's weird. Misasim b'ma, that they're like Kabbalah. Rabbi Yossi v'Glili Omer, Nerma kan mechashefa. Now, where's the source for skila, guys? Where's the source for skila for mechashefa? God says mechashefa le'sechaya. So what is he? Where's the source? Mechashefa le'sechaya v'nema lahalim le'sechaya kol neshama ma lahalim b'sayif. Says Rabbi Yossi v'Glili, it's b'sayif afkan b'sayif. So we said that what by le'sechaya kol neshama means by the zayin umos, guys. There's a mitzvah to kill out the zayin umos. How are you going to kill the zayin umos out? You're going to use a sword, and it says the lashon le'sechaya. So it says le'sechaya kol neshama. So Mele will be very, very good. Le'sechaya kol neshama, le'sechaya mechashef le'sechaya. Just like kol neshama is a sword. Says Rabbi Yossi Glili, mechashef is not skila. What it is sayif. Rabbi Kiva, I mean no. Never come mechashef le'sechaya. V'nemer lahalam by Har Sinai and behemam ish lo yichya. If they go ahead and they get to the mountain, we said that what they get skila. Malahalim beskila, avkam beskila. Rabbi Yossi says the mechashef is besayif. He compares it to the zayinumois. Rabbi Akiva says it's skila. He compares it to Har Sinai. Amalei Rabbi Yossi, I need the nanti le'sechayim le'sechaya. I'm going ahead and learning le'sechaya from le'sechaya. V'yata the nanti le'sechayim le'yichya. The words aren't the same. So Amalei Rabbi Akiva, I need the nanti Yisrael mi Yisrael. Sheriba behen hakasav misas harbe. Okay, you learned it, Rabbi Yossi Glili, you learned it for Le'sechaya kol neshama. We're speaking about killing what? The Zayinumas. That's a goy. I at least am learning from Jew to a Jew, right? I'm learning out Mechashefa, a Jewish Mechashefa, from a Jew that went on Har Sinai when he wasn't supposed to be on Har Sinai. So therefore, even though the lashon of lo yichya is not the lame sechaya, but the commonality between what? Between the people makes more sense to me than the commonality between lo yichya by the zayinumis. Benazay omer nem mechashev lo yichya v'nema kol shoichiv v'behema most yumas. They're juxtaposed to each other. Slemich inyan loy. Why are you putting the issue of snus with an animal right next to what to mechashefa? Ma shechim behema beskila, mechashefa beskila. So you have again, Ben Azai agrees with Rabbi Akiva, he just disagrees with the source. Lo Rabbi Akiva, it's Chaya Yichya from Har Sinai. Lo Ben Azai, it's from the juxtaposition of Psukim of Mechashev Leschaya to Kol Shechim and Behema. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, V'chem Mefnesha Samchu Inyan Loi Neitzel Zeb Beskila. Just because one is placed next to the other, are we going to go ahead and give this guy the Maschamet the Gemisa? Fellas, Rabbi Yehuda does not dash in Smuchim except in Mishnah Torah. Rabbi Yehuda does not dash in Smuchin except in Mishnah Torah, only there. So in other words, since it's a repeat, it's placed that way. But since this is in Pashas Mishpatim, right? So Rabbi Yehuda does not dash in Smuchin, therefore he has a question. What's this question predicated upon? How could you go ahead and give this guy what? How could you go ahead and give this guy skila just because one pasuk's next to it? Again, he doesn't dash in Smuchin. So Ella, where's your source for skila? Ovi Yedoni Bechlal Mechashefim Hayu. Ovi Yedoni are mechal mekom mechashefim. V'lama yatsu. Why is Ovi and Yidoni taken out of the parsha? Lahakish aleim to make a hekish to come mechashafim. V'lama lecha ma Ovi Yidoni beskila, as it says befurish at the end of Parshas Kedoshim. Af mechashefa beskila. So to mechashefa is beskila. Okay. Freiding Mara Rabbi Yehuda Nami lahavi Ovi Yidoni shnei kusuma b'im keachad. V'chol shnei kusuma b'im keachad ein melamdin. Again, we have a rule in Shas, fellas. When the Torah wanted to learn something from another place, it would only say it once. It would only say it once, and then I would learn in a Memetzinu. Just like this is skila, that's skila. So just like Oivi Yidoni is skila, so to Kishiv is skila. But 1 second, why would it say two things? It must be they're limited to those two places. So Oivi Yidoni are two places. So how could you learn from Oivi Yidoni? I a malamdin. On that Gemara says, Rav Zechariah, Hada Oma, from here, Hada, Oma is like Hada, like Slice Meres, Ksam Rabbi Yehuda, Shnei Ksum Bechem Melamdim, which again, Rabbi Yehuda holds throughout Shas, guys, that Shnei Ksum Bechem Melamdim, you learn from here. So bottom line is, we have Machlokes, Rabbi Yisrael Galivi is Mekel, he gets Sayif, Ben Azai, Rabbi Akiva, Ben Azai, and Rabbi Yehuda, are all of the opinion that he gets Skila. Rabbi Yochanan, Lama Nikra Shman Kshafim, why are they called Kshafim? Shemachishim Pamalia Shel Maila, like Lashon Kashpam. That's the way the my girl is here. Kash means to be makish, to weaken, and Pam means Pamalia. By the way, Pamalia, I've said this before. Probably the word family comes from Pamalia. Pamalia means Hashem's closest malachim. If the word Pamalia, it spells out the word family, probably that's where it comes from. That's the source of that word. Ein oid milvado. Okay, so here in Devarim Dalid, Pasuk Lamed Hey. But it says, Oy hanisa elehim lavai lakachas lei goy mikarev goy b'masais ba'oisais v'moisim uv'mulchama ubiyod chazaka ubezroi netuya uv'maroyim gedoylim kechol she'asa lachem Hashem elokechem b'mitzrayim leinechem ata reis ladas ki Hashem hu elokim einad mulvado. So the lead-in is what Hashem did to us in Mitzrayim. Okay? Einad mulvado. Amr Reb Chanina afilu ledovik shafim. In other words, when it comes to Kishuf, Ein Oid Milvadoi will override. When it comes to Kishuf, Ein Oid Milvadoi will override what? Will override Kishuf. In other words, that Kishuf cannot go ahead and overtake someone who is a God-fearing person, as we'll see right now. Amrab Chanina, Hahi Issasa, there was this woman, the Havikama Hadrol Mishkal Afra Mitute carried Reb Chanina. She was trying to take out schmutz from underneath Reb Chanina. It seems that she got the schmutz underneath, she would have been able to go ahead and put a spell on him. Anyway, Amallah, so Reb Chanina told the woman, Imis Tayayis Zili Avidi. If you want to get and do it, go ahead and do it. Ain't oid mulvadai ksiv. Ain't oid mulvadai. In other words, you don't have to worry, right? Ivam Rabbi Yochanan Lama Nikra Shimon. Ini is really so. Vam Rabbi Yochanan Lama Nikra Shimon Machshafim Shmachisim Palish Lamayla. It's much where they do have some power. Says Gemara. Shani Reb Chanina did not fish schusa. Reb Chanina is different than what he had tremendous. He had tremendous chusam. He had tremendous chusam. Okay.
You put yourself in chachil in that kind of a.
No, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because you can't be simich on that. You have, I guess, Reb Chanina, you got to be totally righteous. In other words, Hashem, listen, it says because it says Pamali Shamayla. It doesn't exist. I mean, Hashem seems to allow it. Gives magic certain things. So you have to be again. Bisman Azeh, there's a Toisvis. Oh, where's the Toisvis? I think it's the end of Yuma. We've quoted the Toisvis before. I forgot where it is. The Toisvis, maybe in Pesachim, where you don't have to worry about Zugois Bisman. You don't have to worry about even numbers Bisman Azeh, right? You don't have to worry about Kishur Bisman Azeh because you don't have to worry about Gili Bisman Azeh, right? There's a Toisvis that I brought in. I have to find it. I'll find it. There's Hashem. I'm not gonna. But this Toisvis says that Bisman Azeh we don't have to worry about these things. But again, at that time, sure. Sure, we saw the Meister with Rav Shimon ben Shetach with the picking him up off the ground and everything. Now it's very geshmak. Where is where the Raya Ein Olam Vada is, guys? Geshmak. In Mitzrayim, the kishuf was so strong, no Eved escaped. There wasn't walls around Mitzrayim. The kishuf stopped avodim. They couldn't escape. They couldn't escape. They were unbelievable kishuf machas, right? Kenny kishuf machas, right? They couldn't escape. They were just surrounded. So that's the raya that Hashem overrides the kishuf, because it brings in that pasuk all by Yetzias Mitzrayim, and then it says, "Ata reis ladas." You saw ki Hashem will kimei nomu vado. Kishuf couldn't let out one eved. Hashem took out 600,000 of them. Right? Hashem took out 600,000 of them. The Torah Chaim, beautiful pshat, and the beautiful pshat, beautiful sefer. Okay. Now, Amar Rab Ava bar Nagri, Amar Rab Chia bar Abba, Bilatehem. It says Bilatehem, Elu Maisha Shedim. This is Maisha Shedim. Bilahatehem, Elu Maisa Kshafim. Elu Maisa Kshafim. So, what's the difference between the two? Between Maisa Shedim and Maisa Kshafim. So, in Magalis Hayom, he brings in a Beis Halevi, guys. He brings in a Beis Halevi. Hagoyin Rev Yashal Yisachadoi mi Brisk brings in the original Briska. He says, Hari lamaisa shedim einoi dimyan lahapoch. Eze davar shiyeh nir la'ayin haroya. Whatever you see by Maisha Shedim, you're looking at. Kidavar acher, rak hu mevi say davar acher mamish mirakim lakan. In other words, the shade, let's say you see a den, guys, a den of snakes. You see a den of snakes. You know what the shade did? He went all the places, he took the snakes and he put it there. Those snakes are there. Avamaisik shafim hu inyan dimyan. Shemahapik zehadava atzmoy shebekan she'enira kedavar acher. In other words, you have a stick and it appears if it's a snake. It's really, that's Maisa kshafim. Maisa shadim when it actually happens. The shade brings it all together. That's where the Beis HaLevi learns. V'cheinu oimer v'eslara chera misapeches. It says by Hashem guarded the way to the Eitz Hadas, Eitz HaChaim. He guarded it with the las acheres misapeches, that this Maisa kshafim, it really was real. And Maisa kshafim, I guess it keep on changing back and forth. Rabbi, the kapit amana shade, if a person is makbid on a mana, right, then this is Maisa shadim. The loy kapit amana kshafim. If he doesn't care about the mana, then that is Maisa kshafim. It appears as the person acting, the mechashef. If he cares about the mana, that's Maisa Shedim. If he doesn't care about the mana, then it's Maisa Kshafim. And you know the difference, as I just told you, based on the Beis HaLevi. Amar Abaya, Hilchas Kshafim ki Hilchas Shabbos. Hilchas Kshafim like Hilchas Shabbos. Yesh mehem skila, yesh mehem pater avalasa, yesh mehem mutter lechatchila, and those are some that are mutter lechatchila. Ha'isa Maisa beskila, what are they? Someone does a Maisa, he gets skila. Ha'ikhes esaynaim, if his illusion is pater avalasa, lechatchila, where's the Maisa mutter lechatchila? Kinder Rav Chanina Rav Oishia, like Chanina Rav Oishia, Ko Maili Shabbata. Every Erev Shabbos, Havi Oske Behilchas Yitzira, they'd be involved with the Sipa HaYitzira, Umirvi Lahu Igla Tilsa, and they would go ahead and bring what? They create a kef, a third of it, tasty kef, a third of it. Go for Achlile. So that would be mutter. Amra Vashi, Chazina Le Lavua, the Karna did Nafitz. I saw the father of Karna, that he blew his nose. The Shodai Kriche din Ashirim Nechire, and silk cloth came out of his nostrils. You ever see the guys do that? It has a source. Vayomru hachatumim el paroi etzber lekim he. Right? The chatumim said it's etzber lekim by the kinim. Amar Rebbe Elazar mikan she'ein hashed yochel livreis bria pachas miksaira. A shade is not able to go ahead and create a bria that's less than a saira. They couldn't do it. But Papa Amar helekim, a lashon of shvua. Afilu ki gamla nami lehem atzibari. A shade can't even a gumel, not even able to go ahead and do that. So hay michnaflei, right? The hay loy michnaflei. In other words, the ones they can go ahead, they can, right? And this one, a small thing, they can't. They're not able to. I guess Maisa Shadim, they really can't do anything. One they're able to gather, and one they can't gather. I think that's the way I would learn based upon the Beis Halevi. Okay, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I think that guys, that would be very geschmack, right? Guys, let's go through it. The Beis Halevi says, what's the difference between Maisa Shadim and Maisa Kshafim? Maisa Kshafim is an illusion. Maisa Shadim is takadir. So they wanted to suggest that the shade can't gather something less than a soira. He can't. So he said he can't do. He said, in other words, he can't bring it up, not gather. He can't bring it up. Says the Gemara as a Maisa Kshafim. Even something as large as a gomel, you can't bring as Maisa Kshafim. Maisa Shadim, you would be able to gather if it's large. If it's small, you can't gather. And that would be very good shmak way to explain the Gemara based upon the Beis Halevi, right? So in other words, in the Havamina, it's Maisa Kshafim. If it's Maisa Kshafim, they can't really bring anything into existence. If it's bringing together, then they can bring together the large, but they can't bring together the small. Amalei Rav Reb Chia. I saw an Arab, the Shakli l'Safsira. He took a sword, the Gadye legamla, and he chopped up his camel. V'tarafle betavla v'kom. He rang a bell, and the camel stood up. Says Amalei Reb Chia told Rav, lebasa hachi dom upartim yahave. After the camel got up, were there any bloods or innards? Was anything around over there? I guarantee you not. It was an illusion. That wasn't mat. That was Maisa Kshafim, not Maisa Shadim. Ziri iklo l'chachsandria sham Mitzrayim. Ziri came to Alexandria, which is a place that was noted for kishuf. Zavin chamara. He bought a donkey, but that donkey it was an illusion donkey. It was not a real donkey. When he came to give it to drink, Pasha, what happened? The spell finished. The kum gamla, this kanisa, and the gamel became the donkey became a gamla, a wood, some type of wood. In other words, I guess they turned this wood into a donkey. Bikishuf. Amulei, Reb Ziri said, he went back to the guy who sold it to him. Ilav Ziriat, like Havi Madrin al-Chav. We own Ziri, we won't go ahead and give you back your money. If you buy anything over here, you got to check it out in the water in the first place. The water will check it out to make sure whether it's real or not. Okay, that's the car. When you check out your car? What's that called? Car something. I don't know. Yanai iklo lahu ashpiza. Yanai came to an inn. Amalahu ashkamaya. He said to the innkeeper, "Give me a drink of water." Krivu shisa. They bought him shasisa. Shisa is some type of drink that was mixed into it. Flour, as Rashi says, some type of flour mixed in. Kriva shasisa, and chazi the kamarachshin svase. And the one who gave it to him, Yanai saw that she was going ahead and putting a spell on it. She was moving her lips. So Shadei Purtamine, he poured a bit of it off, and Haviak Rabbi, and he saw that it turned into scorpions. Amalei, Anosh Shosim Biditchu, Asanami Shosim Bididi. Listen, I drank yours, you drink mine. So Ashke Havi Chamara, he gave her a drink, and what happened to her? Havi Chamara, she turned into a donkey. Rachva Solak the Shuka, he rode her into the marketplace. Asa Chavasa Pashvale, her friends came along and they took off the spell. And Chazi the Rachiv V'koya Issa B'Shuka, and Yanai, that's why it doesn't say Rebbe Yanai. I guess for Rebbe Yanai, it would have been a busha. But Yanai, it seems that he was riding on a woman in the street was not such a bad thing. It says, Vatalat Svardeya V'tachasas Eretz Mitzrayim, the Svardim that came up and they covered Mitzrayim, Rebbe Loza, Svardeya Achas Haisa. There was only one big frog, Hishritzu umilu kol eretz Mitzrayim, and that frog gave birth to other frogs. They say something that they hit it, and it became a multitude of frogs. Kitanoy, it's machlokes tanoim whether they went ahead and one frog became many, or one frog called other frogs. Kitanoy. Rabbi Akiva Oimer. Rabbi Akiva says, Svardeya achas was one Svardeya, umilu kol eretz Mitzrayim. And that frog, it gave birth to many other frogs, and they filled up Mitzrayim. Amalur Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, Akiva, Malachei Etzal Goda. Akiva, what are you doing? I love this Gemara. What are you doing, Etzal Gadata? Kale midvarasecha, don't talk so much. You stick to the stuff that no one takes by a novel. You stick to the oilers. You stick to the goyim. You don't go ahead and deal with this. Svardeya achas haisa. There was one Svardeya. However, sharka lehem, and this Svardeya croaked, and v'heim bo, and all the other Svardim, they came. In other words, it called to action all the other Svardim. Not Svardim, it's Svardim. All the other Svardim.